Hey everybody, it's Chris over at Dixieland Farm, and we are going to talk to you about our upcoming 2019 trips. Can you believe it? 2019. We're going three times to Disney World. And the reason is because we have annual passes and because we have DVC points, and we have banked some of those points from previous years that we just kept rolling them over. So we've got a surplus of points. We're going to use them to go into the parks. Now, we just came back from a trip in December 2018 where we had a glorious week at the Bay Lake Towers during Christmas times. I'm editing those videos now. Some of them are already on my Disney playlist, and they'll be released over the next month or so here. And we also shot a series, We Love Disney, things that we love about Disney, and we're still editing some of those as well. Some of them we did a full narration there live at the park, and some of them we're going to be doing here just because it's hard to walk and talk and do all that kind of stuff. So we'll be piecing together all that material for you. But the 2019 trip, so we're going in late spring of 2019 for we'll call it a longish weekend, so Wednesday to Sunday. And then we're going in late summer for a week, and then a late long weekend again in late fall. 3 trips. Fantastic. So the next trip that's coming up, the late spring trip, we are going down probably a night early, which was something we did in December 2018 where we drove half the way. We had to do it because there was a snowstorm coming, and we just wanted to make sure we didn't get stuck. We liked the experience enough, and also it saved us about 4 or 5 hours of driving, so we can actually get to Orlando a little bit after lunch.
And the hotel we stayed in at night was only a little stabby.
Only a little stabby, and you can't beat that. Plus, may end up with an extra wife or two, So that's pretty cool. So we will be staying at Old Key West, a new hotel for us, a DVC hotel, the first DVC hotel, as a matter of fact. And that is located very close to Disney Springs, where they've got a boat that'll take you to Disney Springs. So we will be doing some stuff at Disney Springs as well. It's during the Flower and Garden Festival when we're going. So this festival is celebrating, spring and flowers, gardens, would you believe? And also, just like every festival, there are loads of food booths everywhere, and they keep growing year after year. So you can get a little tapas style, different types of food, all around Epcot. And it's also do they still call it the Garden Rocks?
I think so.
Concert series. When we're going, there should be Flock of Seagulls and Marshall Tucker Band playing. So there's no guarantee that we'll actually be able to see them, but we will at least be able to hear them. And hopefully we'll get to see them. We'll just see what happens.
It's also one of the prettiest times of year at the park.
I think out of all the festivals, it is our favorite because it's a little more low-key. The food, I think, is a little bit better. I think the portion sizes are a little bit bigger for what you get. And it's... Besides all the topiaries of different characters and stuff like that, there's a butterfly garden, there is a, was it blue marlins?
Purple martins.
Purple martins, blue clovers.
Green horseshoes.
They got it all. So there's, this a bird sanctuary that they kind of built right there on property. It's just a wonderful time at Epcot. Also, the weather during this time is just spectacular. Less humidity. Can't say no humidity, it's Florida. Less rain. Can't say no rain because it's Florida. But it is a milder time.
Still hot.
Still hot. So, and we are taking advantage of that heat. Part of our annual passes that we bought a couple of years ago and finally have activated includes water parks, which we have not done in 10 years. We haven't been to a water park. So we're going to, I think, both water parks. We're going to Typhoon Lagoon, which is our favorite, and Blizzard Beach as well. While we're there, we're going to go to Olivia's, which is the restaurant at Old Key West, which is supposed to have the best fried chicken on property.
That's a pretty bold statement.
It is, because we've been to Art Smith's Homecoming in Disney Springs, which is not only the best fried chicken I probably think on property. I don't know until we test out Olivia's, but it so far is the best fried chicken I've ever had in my life. Ever. That was the greatest. Mwah! And R. Smith was Oprah's chef just in case you didn't know. And he was also on Top Chef several times, Top Chef Masters.
He knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing. And then we are also going to Bongo's Cuban Cafe at Disney Springs.
Yep, which is the restaurant that was conceived and I guess owned by Gloria Stefan.
1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna have some Cuban food now, and we've never been there before. We always try to pick things we've never done before, at least once during the trip. We'll be going to the water parks. We'll be going to Epcot several times, and Magic Kingdom as well. And we'll be going to Liberty Tree Tavern,
Which we've done, but
now we've never done it for lunch. We've done it for dinner, which is sort of like a Thanksgiving-esque dinner. Lunch is that plus some other stuff.
like you can order off a normal menu, but it's the food is good, but it's not just the turkey and dressing, stuffing.
Right. They have like a chicken Alfredo. They got some kind of sandwiches and the turkey
More importantly,
stuff.
they have the sticky toffee pudding, which is really the ooey gooey toffee cake.
Ooey gooey toffee cake,
That's
which
really the reason we're going.
they never offered that during the dinner for us. It was always some kind of cobbler. So, but the ooey gooey toffee cake is supposed to be great. We tried making the recipe once, and we
failed.
We failed.
Excuse me, I failed.
We all collectively failed, but we all won also because it was still pretty good. But I think we put 4 times the amount of sugar in that we were supposed to. So it was mostly a brick of sugar with some syrup and then some sweet sauce on the side. And then we topped it with ice cream just to cut down some of that sugar when we tried it. Regardless, it's going to be a glorious time, and Lord knows we need it. We've had some tough stuff happen here on the farm, so having that vacation coming up has been fueling us and keeping us going. So, our late summer trip, we are staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge, and Marissa was able to waitlist our time, so instead of staying at the DVC property, Kidani Village, which is lovely, but kind of pretty isolated from stuff, and
You can tell them it's because the last time we stayed there, we had to walk about a mile from our room to get to anywhere. It was such a long walk, especially at the end of a long day. It almost made the stay there not fun, even though the room was amazing and the resort was beautiful and we enjoyed the trip. But the walk down those hallways was.
And she's not exaggerating. I mean, it was like literally a mile. It's a really long resort because it kind of goes in this horseshoe around a savanna. But Jambo House is like the normal hotel.
The original part of that.
And part of that has been converted to DVC, and you have access to the nicer, bigger lobby and the nicer, bigger pool.
And the awesome gift shop.
And the awesome gift shop and the awesome quick service restaurant, the Mara, which has the wonderful zebra domes, which we get at Boma whenever we eat at Boma, which we did in December, and it was still our favorite restaurant on property. But we will not be going to dinner at Boma. Marissa's already booked our restaurants. We are going to Boma for breakfast, which is supposed to be great. It's supposed to be slightly African inspired because Animal Kingdom Lodge is African inspired. We'll also be going to Jiko, which is the fancy in the pants version restaurant that they've got there. Also, the menu is completely African inspired. The whole resort, of course, is African inspired because it's Animal Kingdom Lodge. There's African art. There are African ambassadors there that will talk about their African culture and where they came from because they are
like an exchange student program, sort of, kind of.
Right. So you're actually talking to somebody who's lived there and will go back to living in Africa. So it's really interesting. And the resort also has a savanna, which I had mentioned before. So its own animals, giraffes, zebras, wildebeests, everything. And we have a savanna view. So you open up the window and doors and you go out onto your terrace. And there you go. There's a full zoo basically right in front of you. How cool is that?
It's very cool.
So we've already started booking what days we're going where for that trip, and we're doing a lot of half days and kind of jumping around, which it sounds weird, but that is actually a more relaxed pace for us. When you have an annual pass and you can do a little bit here and a little bit there, you tend to do some of the stuff you like, and then you leave and you go back to your room and relax, and then you go to another place.
The park you're in gets crowded, and let's get out of here.
Right.
Let's go someplace less crowded.
When you are at one park for the whole day, you are killing it. You are just going at it the whole time. So actually doing the half days here and there and just picking, well, we've never done this before, we'll just do that, and then leaving is kind of a relaxed pace. So we've got a lot of all that planned out, and all the restaurants are basically planned out as well. We are going to go to Garden Grill for breakfast. We did a Garden Grill for breakfast in our December trip and loved it so much, that's why we're going back. And that video has already been edited and it's on my playlist, but you'll see it released on the feed in a little bit.
We're also going to try, assuming it opens before our trip, and I think it's supposed to, the new space theme restaurant that they're supposed to be opening at Epcot.
Yeah.
Space 220, I believe, is the name of it. It's supposed to go in the area between what is currently the defunct Wonders of Life Pavilion and Mission Space. But the Wonders of Life Pavilion is scheduled to turn into a Let's Play pavilion with interactive stuff for kids. Like, they're actually going to do something with that one. Will not be ready for our visit. But the restaurant may be.
Right, but the restaurant, space restaurant is supposed to be, and it's like, you go into a room and, through magic or whatever, and then you're supposed to be transported to space, and then as you go to the restaurant, the entire wall is like you were on a space station, and you're looking out at
the cosmos.
At the cosmos, I think probably hovering above a planet, and all of that.
And now it's not supposed to be animated per se, but these windows that you're looking at that are projections or whatever are actual video from space. It's real, kind of like the way they have the portholes on the cruise ships that show they're not real portholes, but they're virtual portholes.
Or it'd be, I guess, how it's you can see out and it's nighttime and snowing.
Right. So it's not like somebody drew or animated space. It's an actual video, if not a live, I don't think a live feed, but an actual video of space and all that. I don't know if it's from the Hubble telescope or whatever, but very exciting.
So real cool. And it will be a food and wine festival when we go. Music guests have not been announced, so we don't know who will be playing at the festival, but we have not done food and wine for 3 years, I guess, right? I think when we did Polynesian trip was...
Yeah. And it's a great time to go. It does tend to be a little more crowded. It does tend to be a little hotter. At least the Food and Wine Festival tends to be crowded. At the particular time of year that we're going used to be, and I'll explain why in a second, used to be one of the least crowded times of year, but thanks to an announcement that was made very recently, that's never going to happen again at Disney at any time of year, because Star Wars Land, which was not supposed to open until late fall, December, has now decided to open up in the middle of the summer, in August.
So, certainly cool that Galaxy's Edge will be open. We do not know if we will be able to experience any of it.
But if they do, I'm ready. I'm ready to be a Sith. Do I look like a Sith?
You're more of a Jar Jar. Aww. Why did I say that? Aww. You're more of a Yoda. So we honestly just have no idea. Nothing's been opened up. They're not having fast passes for the rides. Only one of the rides going to be open, I think, when we go. They're at Disneyland. There's a rumor that you'll actually have to reserve time to even just walk in the land. You will not be permitted just to kind of go in. We don't know if that will be the case at Disney World. We don't know if they'll change their mind at Disney World, that maybe in the beginning they'll just make it a free-for-all and then they decide, no, we're going to restrict time in. I know when Toy Story Land opened, it was like a 5-hour wait just to walk in the land. We're not going to do that. We will do what we can. We're going to go with the flow.
And maybe we'll get in, maybe we won't. Honestly, I'm going in almost expecting to not be able to get in because of the crowds. I mean, if the Harry Potter stuff was any indication, where there were 7-hour waits just to get into the park, into that section of the park when the Wizarding World opened. I mean, Star Wars, Harry Potter, a little bit more popular. So if we happen to be able to get in, that's going to be total bonus, but that's the beauty of DVC. We'll be back again.
That's right. And then Our late fall trip will actually be happening during the Christmas season, so we'll get to experience Christmas again, which is just wonderful. We do not have a hotel yet booked for that. We are waiting for our windows to open, and so we have not booked restaurants. We have not booked fast passes because we are nowhere in those booking windows yet. So we don't know what we'll be doing.
Although I understand the interim replacement for illumination should be up and running by that point.
Which will be a great. So when we go in late spring, we'll be saying goodbye to Illuminations. I'll be crying a lot because it was my favorite fireworks show. I don't know when we go in late summer what will be there. I think there's supposed to be a interim show by then, which is supposed to run until the end of the year. We don't know quite what will be running when we go in late fall. But we get to experience holidays at Disney World again, and that's the video I'm editing together now for you of us doing that exact same thing. This will be also a long weekend, Wednesday to Sunday. We will most likely be staying at Saratoga Springs because that usually is available anytime you need to book. But we don't know that. We don't even know if we'll be able to get Saratoga Springs with Disney's Galaxy's Edge being open. Maybe everybody will be clamoring to book rooms and we'll be skunked out and we'll have to stay off-site. We don't know, but we'll find out. So, 3 trips, 2 long weekends and 1 week. All paid for already, so we don't actually have to worry about it. We just have to worry about paying for food, and that is always a pretty big expense.
Well, that is a big expense because
Yeah.
that is a big part of our trips.
But we are super excited and super blessed that we were able to get away so many times this year and really enjoy it. We've actually already started planning our 2020 trips, which will be non-Disney trips.
Say what?
Yeah, so we are planning doing stuff around the Florida coastline in May for a long weekend, and we are hoping to do Universal in late fall as well of 2020. So we are planning those things out as well.
I'd like to wrestle an alligator.
We're going to wrestle an alligator. I'm going to go wrestle Marissa right now. Let's go. All right, everybody, Dixieland Farm, take care.